In this video, we are going to continue our discussion with equivalent ratios. So we're going to be looking at if two ratios are equivalent and using them to solve problems. All right, so first let's take a look at what it means to be an equivalent ratio. As we know, and we have discussed in our last lesson, two ratios are equivalent if they simplify to the same fraction. So if you write the ratio as a fraction, remember the first value goes on top, the second value goes on the bottom. If they are simplified to the same thing, that means they are equivalent. All right, so let's take a look at this problem here. The ratio of cats to dogs in shelter A is 6 to 9, which would be written as 6 over 9. The ratio of cats to dogs in shelter B is 8 to 12, which would be written as 8 over 12. Do they have the same ratio, and explain? So we need to simplify both of these fractions to see. I know that I can take out a factor of 3 from 6 and 9 because they are both divisible by 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So the simplified ratio is 2 to 3. Now looking at the numbers 8 and 12, I can divide them both by 4. They both share a factor of 4. 8 divided by 4 is 2. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So these do, in fact, both are equivalent because they both simplify to a ratio of 2 to 3. All right, we're going to skip over that one. We'll talk about that during our lecture. All right, are the ratios 10 to 3 and 30 to 6 equivalent, and explain? So let's first look at 10 to 3, which would be written as 10 over 3 because the first number goes on top, second number goes on the bottom. Looking at those do not share a common factor, so that's just going to remain the same because 10 is not divisible by 3 or by 1. Let's look at 30 to 6. These are both divisible by 6. You could also use 2 or 3, but then you'd keep having to keep going. The biggest number they're both divisible by is 6. 30 divided by 6 is 5. 6 divided by 6 is 1. So 10 to 3 does not equal 5 to 1, so they are not equivalent. You could also kind of look at these and say, well, 10 times 3 is 30, but 3 times 2 is 6, so both terms were not multiplied by the same factor. So that's another way that you could tell. All right, now let's look at using equivalent ratios to solve problems. So here's where we're going to take a piece of information, get it down, and then continue. You and your friend are selling tickets to a carnival. For every 5 tickets you sell, your friend sells 7. So I'm going to pause and I'm going to get that down. So you, and we're going to make the ratio you over your friend. Okay, so every 5 tickets you sell, which is 5, your friend sells 7. So we have a ratio of 5 to 7. You sell a total of 15 tickets. So that 15 is going to go on the top because you is on the top. How many does your friend sell? So we're going to leave that as our question mark. Now we need to figure out, how did I go from 5 to 15? And that is going to be, we multiplied by 3. So now since I multiplied the tickets I sold by 3, I'm going to multiply the tickets my friend sold times 3 to keep it equivalent. 7 times 3 would be 21. So to answer this in a sentence, your friend, little spelling error there. Your friend sold 21 tickets. And then if we wanted to make it a full race, we could say this is because we went from 5 to 15 by multiplying by 3. So then we had to multiply the tickets our friend sold by 3, and 7 times 3 is 21. Therefore, your friend sold 21 tickets. All right, let's take a look at the next problem. A store sells 5 printers for every 2 computers. 5 printers for every 2 computers. The store sells 40 computers. So I'm going to put that computers on the bottom because we want them to match 40 computers. How many printers were sold? So question mark, number of printers. So now I need to figure out how I went from 2 to 40, and that is going to be multiplying by 20 because 2 times 20 is 40. 5 times 20 would be 100. So 100 printers were sold. Again, 5 printers to 2 computers. If we went from 2 computers to 40 computers, that would be multiplying by 20. 5 printers times 20 is 100 printers. All right. The gym has a ratio of 7 basketballs for every 6 soccer balls. There are 24 soccer balls. How many basketballs are there? So our 24 is going to go on the bottom because soccer balls is on the bottom. And we have a question mark number of basketballs. So now that I've set up my problem, I'm going to figure out how did I go from 6 soccer balls to 24. And that is by multiplying by 4. 7 times 4 would be 28. So there are 28 basketballs. All right. And I think we are going to stop there for now. Actually, we're going to do one more. Your friend said for every 10 questions on the test, you got 4 correct. If there were 25 questions on the test, how many did you get correct? So for every 10 questions, we got 4 correct. And this is saying if there were 25 questions, how many did we get correct? All right, so here is where we have our can't go from A to B, so we have to go around to C because we cannot multiply to get from 10 to 25. So what we're going to do is reduce this ratio to have it be 5 to 2, because if I divide 10 and 4 by 2, I can simplify that ratio. So now I have created a situation by simplifying that 10 to 4 that now I can go from 5 to 25 by multiplying by 5. 5 times 5 questions times 5 would be 25 questions. 2 correct times 5 would be 10 correct. Again, this was a situation where we had to simplify our original ratio first because we couldn't go from 10 to 25. But a ratio of 5 to 2 is the same as 10 to 4. And then we could go from 5 times 5 to 25, and then 2 times 5 would give us the 10 correct. All right, now we are going to stop, and we will review this soon. So if you're a little confused, it is okay, and we will continue this soon. Bye, guys.